pretty interesting. So first you need to give it some types, because the system needs to know what types are the input, what type is the input, as well as what type is the output from the neural network. So that's the first part, is declaring some schemas. After that, you need to give it a way to think about the problem, a conceptual model. So for this particular problem, for landing the lunar lander, I'm telling it, I want you first to learn how to say stable, and then how to go to the center to be in between the flags, and then I want you to learn how to land. Once I give it those concepts, I need to give it what we call a curriculum, some way to learn that. And so in this particular code, we basically say, okay, to say stable, I want you to use this simulation, the lunar lander simulation. I want to configure these parameters, and I want you to maximize an objective, a stabilized objective. That objective is written inside the simulation. It's a function you write basically to measure how well the system is doing. When you write this code, you feed that to our server, and then our AI engine goes through the process of generating models for this problem. The way it knows which models to pick is through a combination of heuristics and some other really cool stuff, where we're keeping track of all the code that's been submitted and all the best models for the code that we've ever come across. Once a model is created, the system begins to train.
So do you use like open source code libraries, or do you?
We do. So underneath the hood is TensorFlow, but the way the system is set up is a bit like a compiler. This code goes up to our servers. There's a middle part where we decide what deep learning topology we want, and then there's a back end that outputs that as a TensorFlow model.
How do I deploy this online as my web app?
So once the model is trained, and even actually while it's training, you can access it through our HTTP API. So there's a REST endpoint. You basically just push data to that endpoint, and it'll give you back a response. And that works in a classical REST style. But we also have a WebSockets-based mode that's good for working with more real-time applications. Right now, we've wrapped that API with a Python library and a C++ library. And we'll wrap it with more libraries to make it easier to work for more and more languages.
Very much like GraphLab, where you can not have the code, but then you call your API on your web app, and then they call theirs, and they can do that.
That's right. That's right. It's like that part of GraphLab, yes.